Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pyro gaming video. A question that I get asked quite a bit is, Pyro, why do I die so much when I play Destiny? How come I can't stay alive? How come I can't get as many kills as the other people on my fire team? What am I doing wrong? Now before we answer those questions, I do want to say that I'm going to be going over some stuff that may seem like common sense to some of you. So if you're comfortable with how you play the game, and you don't die a lot, you get plenty of kills when you go do strikes, raids, nightfalls, things of that nature, this video probably isn't for you. For the rest of you though, let's go ahead and talk about it, because it's something, like I said, that I get asked quite a bit. I asked over on Twitter if you guys would be interested in this type of video. You said yes, and additionally, with the addition of guided games, I have actually been doing a lot of nightfalls with a lot of randoms, and it's usually me and my clanmate basically carrying the random through the nightfall, which I'm okay with doing. But for me personally, if I was on the receiving end of that carry enough, I'd want to better myself. I'd want to be better at this game. I'd want to know what I'm doing wrong, identify the problems, correct them, and move on with my life. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. One of the main problems that I see people do when I get matched up with a random in a nightfall, I always inspect randoms. Every random that I've ever played with, I have inspected you before we even started the match. And I don't kick people unless they're just being rude or stupid or getting ragey. I won't kick somebody because they're not good at the game. But that being said, when I inspect your character and I see that you're about to do this week's nightfall, rocking, say, a Uriel's gift in your energy slot, a sword in your power weapon slot, and I don't know, like that hockey hand cannon in your kinetic slot, I know that you're not going to have a good time. And the reason that I know that is because that is not a good loadout for this type of strike. And some of you may look at that and say, oh, well, Pyro, Uriel's gift has, like, max stability. It's so stable. It's like a laser beam. And it is. Uriel's gift is a very fun auto rifle, and it can be very effective in the right scenario. But here's the thing. When you're building your loadout, you need to cover three very important areas of this game. Number one is long-range kills, number two is close-range kills, and number three is how effectively and quickly you can get those kills with your selected weapons. Now, if you compare, say, a Uriel's gift to Sunshot, you're going to use so much more ammo with Uriel's gift taking down a shielded enemy than you would if you were using Sunshot. And I realize that Uriel's gift is an auto rifle, its base power is a lot lower than a hand cannon. I'm not talking about the amount of bullets that you use, I'm talking about the amount of damage that you can do with the bullets that you have in your magazine and in reserve. And that is a very important question that you need to ask yourself when building a loadout, because the way that the ammo economy is in Destiny 2, you run out of ammo very easily. So you're constantly needing to switch between your kinetic weapon and your energy weapon. You need to know which one to use at which point in time, and which types of enemies to use those certain weapons on, and which ones you shouldn't, and that's how you put together your loadout. So my go-to loadout for PvE in Destiny 2, and I have one of each of these on all 6 of my characters, 3 on Xbox, 3 on PS4, and very rarely do I ever change this loadout up because it's so good and so effective at everything I need it to be good at. The loadout that I use is the kinetic weapon is going to be the Nameless Midnight Scout Rifle that you get from Commander Zavala. It has explosive rounds, really good range. Explosive rounds has no damage drop-off, so you're always going to get at least 50% of your shot damage from every single bullet that you throw. In my energy slot, I use the exotic hand cannon known as Sunshot. It's really good, man. It's really, really good. It's great for ads, it's great for bosses, it's great for everything in between. It's just an all-around great weapon. So with a combination of Nameless Midnight and Sunshot, right there, I have close, medium, and long range covered, just from those 2 weapons, and I haven't even gotten to my power weapon yet. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to keep my distance from the non-shielded enemies and pick them off safely and comfortably with Nameless Midnight from a distance. That is going to enable me to not take nearly as much damage because I can kill them from far away. Most of the time, I can stay far enough away with Nameless Midnight to where I don't even proc their aggro and they don't even fire back at me. I can just pop them from across the map and be fine. But if I do get into a situation where there's some ads rushing me, coming up close to me, that's when I pull out Sunshot. Sunshot is great for, the oh shit, like the panic button kind of thing, where you have a bunch of ads around you, you pull out Sunshot, get a couple of headshots on some Thrall, they all start a chain reaction of explosions, and it's just all around great, man. Sunshot is probably my favorite exotic in this game. Not probably, it is. It's my favorite exotic in this game. But that is my kinetic weapon, and that is my energy weapon, so let's talk about my power weapon. So for your power weapon, you want it to do a few things. You don't want it to just be a one-hitter quitter, you want it to be an all-around weapon. So that being said, your best bets in this game right now, and this is based on how the game feels and what different archetypes of weapons are at right now, it's pretty much rocket launchers, swords, and fusion rifles. Shotguns are also pretty good, but shotguns, the only thing I don't like about that is you can burn through your ammo super quick, and you have to be right up on a target. I actually don't use swords a whole lot for that exact same reason. You burn up your ammo really quickly and you have to get right up on a target. But if you're building a loadout with, say, a scout rifle in your energy slot, a scout rifle in your kinetic slot, or a pulse rifle, like something that's going to be medium to long range, if you're using two of those, that's when you would want to pair it with a sword so that you can have that close range covered. But if you're doing the loadout like I do mine, where you have a scout rifle in the kinetic slot and a hand cannon in your energy slot, then for your heavy slot, you just want to focus on DPS because you already have close, medium, and long range covered. So that being said, the best pairing for it is going to be a rocket launcher. Now, rocket launchers come in a lot of different flavors, but there's only a small handful that are good. Zavala has one called the Curtain Call that is pretty good. It's got cluster bombs. The Raid rocket launcher is the highest impact archetype, and it comes with cluster bombs. It's the one I'm using in this video. And then you also have the Blue Shift rocket launcher, which is another one of my favorites. It does not have cluster bombs, but it does have max blast radius and hits like an absolute truck. So that's what I keep for boss damage. Now, you can also do fusion rifles. Like I said, fusion rifles are good at close to medium range. So you can run the same loadout that I have, which is the scout rifle, hand cannon combo, and still use a fusion rifle in your power slot and have it fit. It's going to work with what else you're using. Now, for me personally, in pretty much every activity, like I said, I don't change up my loadout because I have a loadout that works really well for me. So once you find the loadout that you can use that works really well for you, where you have close, medium, and long range covered, you have boss damage covered, you have a loadout that allows you to play how you want, play defensively where you don't have to rush in, and I'm saying this as I'm popping my super and running up to a bunch of ogres, which is probably not smart, but, you know, we had plenty of time on this Nightfall, so I decided to have a little fun with it. But once you find the weapons that work for you and suit your playstyle, now you need to learn how to use them properly. And I don't say that to be disrespectful or be negative, I say that as a fact. So, for example, I'm going to use my loadout again. I have the scout rifle that's kinetic. I'm going to use that on all the enemies that don't have shields. Or if an enemy's shield comes down, then I will go ahead and hit them with Nameless Midnight. If the enemy does have a shield, I'm going to use Sunshot. Additionally, I will also use Sunshot if there are more than one ad grouped together so that I can chain the explosions. And additionally, I switch back and forth constantly so that I can kind of drain the ammo for those two weapons at roughly the same time so that I don't run out. I give myself plenty of opportunities to bring those two ammo reserves down together so that if I do run out of one, I have a backup until I can go and get more ammo for it. Now, for the heavy, I use heavy sparingly. I use it for bosses, I use it for shielded enemies. If there happens to be a very large group of ads, I will put a rocket in there. But for the most part, because energy or heavy ammo is scarce in Destiny 2, I try to save it for the big hitters, and that's what I use it for. The next thing that I want to touch on real quick is priority targets. Now, I'm not talking about if you had Keen Scout on or something like that where it puts a little X on the target. I'm saying if you're doing a Nightfall, you're doing a raid, whatever the case may be, you walk into a room and there are a ton of enemies everywhere. Which enemies do you go for first? Most people will go for the captains or the yellow bar enemies, you know, the heavy hitters. Most of them will go straight for those. I don't do that. I save those for last, and the reason being is because 90% of the time, it's going to be the ads that kill you. If you do not control the ads, then you're going to have a really bad time. So when I walk into a room, and even right now as I'm doing this boss fight, instead of just focusing solely on the boss, I'm running around. I'm looking for ads. I'm killing Thrall. I'm killing Acolytes. I'm killing Wizards. I'm killing all the little guys so that they don't pile up and become worse than the big guy. Ad control is one of the most important things to do in this game when you're talking about staying alive. Now, additionally, if you go into a room and there are a ton of ads, but it's an enemy, like a checkpoint or something like that in the Nightfall where you have to kill a certain enemy to progress, put a rocket into that certain enemy, pick them off from a distance, move on, don't even worry about the ads. And to wrap this video up, I'm going to say this. Try your absolute best to get headshots, even if you need to take a little, like an extra second or two to really get that precision shot lined up. Take your time and do that, and eventually it'll become muscle memory. You'll be able to do it quicker, and it's going to help you out in the long run. And my last bit of advice is to just be patient. You want to be consistent and persistent, but at the same time, you don't want to rush in and bite off more than you can chew. And more often than not, when I'm playing with randoms in the Nightfall, when I hear Guardian down, that's exactly what happened. They tried to run in there and be that guy that gets all the kills, and they end up getting themselves killed because they can't handle it. When you're talking about Nightfalls and raids, I mean, these enemies are tough, man. They're not your average patrol enemies. In patrol, run up and punch everybody, it doesn't matter. But in the more end-game challenging activities, you have to be patient, you have to take your time, you have to line up your shots, you have to be effective, and hopefully this video will help you guys accomplish that. That is going to bring this video to an end, guys. Drop a comment in the box below and let me know if I missed any tips and tricks, or if you have any more to add, please feel free to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you guys, and take care.